I accidentally eavesdropped on a first date that felt like watching a dreamer trying to spark life into a brick wall. I was at a restaurant just outside Boston, mid-range, nothing fancy, but nice enough for a date. I was early, my friend running late, so I had about 20 minutes of solo time at my table. Next to me, in the same booth but technically a separate table, sat a young couple who looked to be in their mid-20s. They arrived a minute after I did. Across from me and to my left sat a man, heavy-set, pale, with a bright red beard and the posture of someone either very tired or permanently unimpressed. Across from him, beside me, sat a young woman with expressive eyes, neat makeup, and a polite energy that I could feel even from my seat. It was clearly a first date. She smiled. He grunted. She talked. He sipped a whiskey cocktail. She ordered a wine, asked for it to come with her meal, but they brought it early. She laughed and thanked the server anyway, and then the conversation started. At first, it was small talk, the kind where one person tries to make it work and the other seems to be calculating how long is polite before leaving. I started jotting things down, not with judgment, but curiosity. I do this sometimes when alone in public, like sketching, but with words, a habit from long subway rides and solo lunches. She admitted this was her first app date. He said he'd been on a lot. Silence. She asked him if he wanted to know anything about her. He responded, "Sure, like what?" She tried again, asked about plumbing. He said he was a journeyman, but that there's no difference, really. She tried to relate. "I went to school for 4 years for my job. I always admired people who just dove into work." He said he had a degree in communications. She blinked. "Oh, that's cool. Surprising, but cool." He said nothing. She confessed she gets nervous on dates and talks too much, invited him to jump in. He told her, "You're fine." She asked if he'd always lived nearby. He said, "Whole life." She launched into a story she grew up on a houseboat. Her parents studied whales, like George on Seinfeld, but real. She smiled, looking for a connection. He asked if you can eat whales. She paused. No? She asked if he was okay, offered to reschedule if it wasn't a good night. He said, "You're fine." She laughed nervously, tried to bridge again. "I actually studied physics, minored in music so I wouldn't forget piano. Took a year to just plain never look back." He cut in, "What kind of money you make doing that?" She blinked. "Sorry?" He repeated the question. She dodged politely. "It varies." He nodded. "That's what I figured." She asked about Netflix. He studied the menu. She asked if anything looked good. He said, "Not really. Might just ask for a regular burger." She apologized, said she should have checked if he liked seafood. He said, "I do. It's just overpriced." She replied, "Oh, I wasn't expecting you to pay." He grinned. "So you're paying? Cool. Maybe I'll get something else." She laughed, waiting for him to laugh back. He didn't. "Oh, you were joking, right?" He stared. "What joke?" She quietly decided to stick with the wine. He blamed the slow service. She asked about interests. He said, "Sports." She lit up. "Oh, what do you play?" He said he used to play in high school. "Could have gone pro if I wanted." She asked, "What else?" She offered a fun one. "Desert island book choice?" He frowned. "Never been to the desert. I don't really travel." She paused, then said, "You know, I'm actually feeling off. I think I might have to call it a night." He shrugged. "Okay." She stood. "I'll go settle this at the bar." He nodded. "Okay." She looked down, hesitant, then said, "Well, have a good night." He waved her off. "Yeah, you too." This was chill. "I'll text you." She walked out. He stayed, ordered his burger, ate the whole thing. I watched this quiet unraveling of a one-sided effort, a hopeful human trying to connect with a brick wall of indifference, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Not because it was tragic or explosive, but because of how common it felt. It's like people aren't just bad at dating these days, they're bad at showing up. Like someone handed them a life and they're just dragging it around, not even curious about the person across the table. Of course, not everyone is like this, but I'm seeing it more especially among young men. They seem so unbothered, unmotivated, and disinterested in the people they're with, like they're just fulfilling a social quota. Maybe it's burnout, maybe loneliness, or maybe some people are just not meant to date.
I've been stealing my neighbor's Wi-Fi for 6 months, and then they renamed it after me. It started when my internet died during a Zoom meeting. I was presenting quarterly reports, and suddenly, frozen screen, panic mode. I clicked on the Wi-Fi icon on my laptop and saw all these networks. Pretty fly for a Wi-Fi, no lock symbol next to it. I clicked it and it connected right away. I figured anyone who names their Wi-Fi, that has to be pretty chill. The meeting went fine. I meant to call my provider that afternoon, but then I forgot. And their internet was actually faster than mine ever was. YouTube videos started instantly, no buffering wheel. My old connection always had that annoying delay. Weeks went by, then months. Every morning my laptop just connected automatically. I'd see that network name and smile. Whoever this neighbor was, they had good taste in puns. Last week I was checking my phone at the coffee shop when I noticed the Wi-Fi list. Pretty Fly Fora Wi-Fi was gone. Instead, Oh Hi Coffee Cat 99. I nearly dropped my latte. Coffee Cat 99. That's what I use on some games, chats, and so on. My stomach did this weird thing. How could they possibly know that was me? I don't understand any of this computer stuff, but can Wi-Fi track who you are? Can they see my screen? Oh God, can they see which apartment the signal goes to? The worst part is, they're clearly still offering it. Oh Hi, like oh hi, specifically to Coffee Cat 99, which means they know it's me and there. The fine with it, but also means they've been able to see. What exactly? What exactly? I don't even know which neighbor it is. Could be anyone in the building. The signal's strong enough for multiple floors. I called my internet company that same day. Turns out my service had never been canceled, just some wire issue they forgot to fix. It's working again now, but every time I open my laptop, I see Oh Hi Coffee Cat 99 in the network list. Yesterday, I left nice coffee beans outside every door on my floor with sticky notes from a grateful neighbor. If they figured out I'm Coffee Cat 99, they'll probably figure out the coffee is from me. If not, at least everyone gets free coffee. I still have no idea how they knew. Part of me wants to Google it, but honestly, they could have just turned on a password any time in those 6 months. They didn't. This morning, I saw Oh Hi Coffee Cat 99 flash on my screen again when I opened my laptop. This time, I just smiled. I sent flowers to the wrong apartment. She showed up at my door 3 days later and changed everything. So on Valentine's Day, I ordered flowers for this girl I'd been kind of seeing. Nothing super serious, but I thought it'd be a nice gesture, just something small. I was in a rush and typed her address too fast. Didn't even notice I mixed up 2 numbers in her apartment. Hit place order and went on with my day. Got the delivery confirmation a couple hours later, but no text. No thank you, no. These are beautiful nothing. Just silence. Next day, still nothing. By day 3, I figured, alright, cool, guess that's over. Kinda sucked, but whatever. Then someone knocked on my door. This woman standing there with the flowers in her hands. I didn't recognize her at first. She goes, hey, these showed up at my place. I almost threw them out, but they were too pretty. Figured I'd try to get them to the right person. I was like, oh, wow, yeah. Those were for someone who didn't really answer. She smiled and said, their loss. And then, before leaving, she kind of laughed and said, you've got good taste though. If you ever need help picking out flowers again, I'm right down the hall. I stood there like an idiot holding these now very awkward flowers thinking, did that just happen? Next day, I sent her a new bouquet. Just some simple yellow tulips with a note that said, thought you deserved your own. That afternoon, she slid a sticky note under my door. It said, do you send flowers to all your neighbors, or was I just lucky? We ended up grabbing coffee that weekend. Talked for like 2.5 hours without even realizing it. Then, we did it again, and again. Now it's almost a year later, we're still together. She still teases me about not knowing how to type an address. I still get her tulips every once in a while, especially when I have no idea what else to do. Funny how one wrong number turned out to be the right one.
I thought my upstairs neighbor hated me. Then I found the note. I live on the 2nd floor of a 3-story apartment building, aka the anxiety sandwich zone. Every sound from above or below feels like it's happening inside my skull. For the longest time, I thought my upstairs neighbor hated me. Not for anything I did, just in general. She moved in during the pandemic. Never said hi, wore big headphones, dropped things constantly. I'd hear random thuds at 3 a.m., like someone losing a Jenga match in slow motion. Once, something rolled across her floor for a full 30 seconds. Who rolls something for that long? What was it? A bowling ball? A watermelon? Anyway, a few weeks in, I started leaving my shoes at the door and walking in socks, just in case she could hear me. I turned my music down, started closing cabinets more gently. I even felt guilty sneezing too loud, which is wild. Imagine apologizing for sneezing in your own apartment. And then the worst thing happened. One night, I accidentally dropped a full glass of water in the kitchen. Loud crash. Glass everywhere. I cleaned it up fast, but I was convinced she'd come downstairs and yell, or file a noise complaint, or both. But instead, the next morning, I found a post-it stuck to my door. Yellow, slightly crumpled, handwriting like a teacher's. "Hey, hope you're okay. I heard a crash last night. Just wanted to check in. I drop stuff all the time too." No judgment. HDA Apt 3C reader. I melted. This woman I'd invented an entire villain arc for. Was just me, but one floor up. Later that week, I baked banana muffins, box mix, let's not pretend I'm a hero, and left some in front of her door with a note, "From your equally clumsy neighbor." She sent me a voice note later. "These are amazing. Also, I'm pretty sure the rolling sound you heard last week was a cantaloupe. Long story. Now we talk occasionally, trade leftovers, send each other memes." Still haven't met in person, but somehow it feels like I've made a friend just through walls and floorboards and scribbled notes. And yeah, she still drops things at 3 a.m., but now I just laugh and think, same girl.